Welcome to Startup Hack. I'm Spencer, and here at Startup Hack, we love to train software developers as well as build custom software solutions for companies. With over a decade of executive leadership as a fractional CTO and 25 years in software development, I've mastered transforming tech teams and products. So the AI emperor has no clothes, and Sam Altman just admitted it. While claiming that they can build AGI less than 7 months ago, now they can't even keep their chatbot from feeling like an overworked secretary. So I'm going to dive into why OpenAI's collapse might be take the entire AI industry down with it, and we've definitely seen some skittish stock over the last couple of days. So let's jump into some of these articles here and go through some of these. Now, this is an article from about a month ago, but I kind of wanted to just cover this really quickly because it says OpenAI may be in major trouble financially. And quote, I hypothesize a kind of subprime AI crisis brewing, right? Since OpenAI unleashed ChatGPT on the world 2.5 years ago, the company has operated at a substantial financial loss. So I talked about at the beginning, every dollar requires $2.25. So despite having raised at least $60.9 billion in private funding since ChatGPT's public launch, OpenAI is leaking billions of dollars every year. In 2024, for example, a tech startup lost $5 billion, right? Now, there's a lot of other things going on here, and I'm not going to dig through all of this because there's other parts of this. But when it comes to OpenAI, it's difficult to see where else revenue is supposed to come from if not for rate hikes. So as we've talked about before, they can try to squeeze what they're giving you and give you less for the same dollar, or they can raise money. Now, raise the prices. Now, regular users have already been experiencing OpenAI's random throttling, like in May when the company limited ChatGPT image requests because their GPUs were melting under the weight of their vast user base. Now, this is exactly what's going on. And what's kind of crazy to me here is in January, Altman boldly declaimed, and this is a quote, "We are now confident we know how to build AGI." So this was the 2025, and this was part of when he was saying that ChatGPT 5 was coming out. Now, shareholders were promised AGI was coming with ChatGPT 5, and the hype machine was in absolute overdrive. Now, the reality check is ChatGPT 5 and users have absolutely hated it, calling it cold and unfriendly. Who has liked it is corporates because it has become cold and unfriendly and more business-like. So the interesting play here is clearly they're playing to corporations. So even Altman himself has admitted, though, we totally screwed up. Now, I'm kind of trying to figure out exactly what Altman's play here. Like, I get why he would claim, false or not, I kind of understand his motivation, money, for claiming in January why they had a path to AGI, right? So completely false, but I kind of understand what they're doing here, right? CEO's job is to be their number one salesman. But now I'm trying to kind of figure out why he's admitting that these are collapsing. I don't know if he's trying to just give everybody a heads up so he can see, it'll be like, see, I told you. So I'm not really sure what his play here, but the model of ChatGPT 5 was so bad that they restored GPT 4.0 within days after users threatened mass cancellations. So true believers who thought AGI was near, well, they've been completely humiliated by this. Now, before you go any further, make sure you drop a comment down below because I want to hear what you guys think of OpenAI's claims and what you think their future is. And the best compliment you can give me is to leave a comment down below. So it's my favorite thing, and we make sure we answer all of them. So check them out down below. So leave a comment down below. Now, new data shows that ChatGPT usage plummets 54% during the summer months when students are on break. This usage peaks during final seasons at 97.4 billion tokens per day, then crashes once school goes out. So weekends usually drop significantly, almost like homework doesn't get assigned on Saturdays. So if you don't believe me, check out this post, which is actually from, he's using their own graphs here, and this particular individual is calling it Cheat GPT. He says, collapse in OpenAI usage shows its peak are connected to high school and university students using GPT to cheat at homework and essays. So from here, we shall call it Cheat GPT. And if you look at this, you can see that right around the end of May, right when finals are, we see the peak run up, right here in this portion, you know, toward the end of May, we see the peak. You can see the drops every weekend, right? And then we see the absolute plummet from the peak of almost 100 billion tokens down to almost a quarter of the usage. So when they're talking about these numbers, they're talking about those numbers they're telling you in May when everybody's going to use it for cheating on all their finals and stuff. So, and again, this is OpenAI's. Like, this is actually an OpenAI's own graph. This is not like something made up. So, I mean, we can definitely see that open routers data reveals that the pattern. It's not productivity tool. It's a homework machine. Education disruption turns out to be a mass scale academic dishonesty. The real product market fit is helping students avoid actually having to learn anything. Now, this is a problem that I'm interviewing registered apprentices. So we actually provide a registered apprentice program where we hire students from Utah and Idaho. Those are currently the states that are supporting our program. And we hire them, train them to become full-stack software developers, and then place them into our development teams to work with clients. It's a great model. We've built out lots of great people over the years doing this model, and we're continuing to really ramp this up. Now, the interesting thing about this is as I'm doing these interviews, I frequently get people who've come through with a degree, and I'm asking them basic questions, like basic questions, and they're not passing them. And I can clearly see these folks have not learned anything. Then the irony is I find a lot of people who have been self-taught with no degree, and I grab them and they're amazing software developers. And so it's been kind of a little disconcerting, and seeing a chart like this makes me really concerned for the future of university education. Now, ChatGPT actively engages with users discussing suicide without proper safeguards. OpenAI lets vulnerable people have therapy sessions with a chatbot that hallucinates. Proper leadership would immediately end these conversations and provide crisis hotline info. Instead, they're focused on raising billions of dollars while other users' mental health is at risk. This isn't just bad business, it's a complete derelict of duty of users. And I'm not the only one who's saying this. When your AI is literally giving harmful advice to people in crisis, maybe AGI isn't the priority, right? So let's switch over because I want to show you some of these examples here. So this is Jason from the All In podcast, right? So this is not any this guy has a lot more followers than I do. So but he's saying a complete derelict of duty of leadership at OpenAI to let customers engage in suicidal discussions on ChatGPT. Proper leadership and these discussions give the person the contact information of a suicide hotline. Done. Some copy. ChatGPT is not designed to give accurate medical advice. So he's actually helping them and saying, here's what you should say. Instead, he gives this really horrible example where he's talking with somebody who's trying to actually thinking about committing, I have suicidal thoughts, and it starts talking to him and trying to help them to give you the capacity to heal, right? But they continue to talk to these, and instead he needs to be referred off to somebody. This is the problem. ChatGPT hallucinates. It's in nowhere near safe for them to be trusting this technology, which is basically at best a fancy pattern matching and autocorrect on steroids. Now, Altman says OpenAI will spend trillions of dollars on data centers. Yes, trillions. Currently burning $9 billion to generate $4 billion in revenue. And that math doesn't math to me, right? They're effectively losing $16 billion annually when you factor in real cloud costs. Now, Microsoft gave them a 75% discount on cloud services, right? Without it, they would already be dead in the water. That discount Microsoft gave was in a way of an investment to the company, but they're expected to lose $11 billion by 2026 while asking for more investment monies. And yet Silicon Valley keeps handing them this money, and they just keep following the Silicon Valley playbook, lose money faster to somehow make more money later. There's a FOMO from these VCs that they might miss out on the AGI, and Altman had them on the hook. But that's the biggest thing, is Altman is even changing his tone now. And this actually is a little scary for me, because I've been predicting this on the channel here for a while, but I'm actually a little scared to see this now, because I'm afraid of what's going to happen with the stock market, with an already kind of teetering market given jobs and everything right now. Now, the AI startup is in its total death spiral, right? Launch an overhyped product claiming that it'll revolutionize everything, like giving AGI. The product fails, right? Because what we've had here is hardly any upgrade from GPT-3 to GPT-5. Yes, they've plugged in a lot of other things. It can search the internet, it can do some other things, and it can do it quickly for you. I get that. But the algorithms themselves have not improved that much. But what do? They raise more money on insane valuations while losing billions of dollars, rinse and repeat until investors finally wake up. Well, we're totally at step number 3 right now. The exact pattern is killed hundreds of companies in the dot-com bust. Now, if your company doesn't have real solutions and needs help to get some of your systems connected, reach out to us, because here at Startup Pack, our specialty is connecting systems to help your company work to maximum efficiency. So check out startuppack.com/Spencer, because we have some awesome teams to help with this. Now, users are running for the exit right now. Only 0.96%, so less than 1% of users convert to paying customers. That's catastrophically bad. So 15.5 million paying users out of 1.5 billion claimed active users. And that math is brutal, right? Users complain that GPT-5 felt like it was talking to an overworked secretary, not an assistant. Social media exploded with people saying OpenAI took away my friend overnight. Now, I'll argue with that I'm kind of with Jason on the all-in part here, because I'm a little concerned with some of the connections that these people have to that. Even if 4.0 did disappear, which I've been warning on here, not to build either friendships or businesses on one of these algorithms. But if your betting market literally has people, or so the betting market literally has people waging whether Google would beat GPT-5 in popularity, and I think they're going to. One trader made a $10,000 bet against GPT-5's success in just a few hours. Now, Altman claims that GPT-6 will have memory as the killer feature that people want, but he admits that temporary memory isn't even encrypted. Let's jump over to some of these articles and talk about what Sam Altman is talking about, because at the end here, I'm going to tell you some of the things that he's saying that are really concerning me, and this is when I see his tone really start to worry me, because I've been trying to figure out why Sam's been lying this whole time, and all of a sudden is starting to wake up and tell the truth a little bit. And one might say, well, he finally came to his senses, but that worries me, because he's been so calculated to this point. I don't understand what the motivation is here. But let's jump over to some of these other articles. So Altman says on GPT-6, people want memory. So Sam Altman says he wants future ChatGPT versions to let users define tone and personality. Now, first of all, that would actually mean that they have to actually be able to control the hallucinations, because right now they can't control what tone it gives at all. They can do some guardrails on it, but they can't control it because they can't control the hallucinations. But Altman called enhanced memory his favorite feature this year. Now, he says people want product features that require us to be able to understand them. Now, he goes on to say, and he didn't give a release date for his company's next artificial intelligence model, right? We just failed at 5, and he's already talking about 6 and making these insane promises for 6. Now, this is the part that I'm talking about, where the lies are going to continue and all that, and I get that. But he made clear that GPT-6 will be different and that it will arrive faster than the gap between 4 and 5. Now, first of all, I don't even believe that. That is a lie that he's telling the investors to hope they get there. That won't happen, because if they do it faster, it will just turn out worse, and it'll be even more of a flop than GPT-5 was, right? Now, he says he sees memory as the key factor for making GPT truly personal. People want memory, he said. People want product features that require us to be able to understand them. However, the dangerous part here is he said, while Altman called enhanced memory his favorite feature launch this year, he said there are privacy concerns. Particularly because temporary memory isn't encrypted. Now, we've seen over and over, Grok just got to spit out a whole bunch of public links. There's a lot, this has happened over and over again. Anthropic ran into this, like a lot of people do this. If this stuff isn't encrypted and people are talking to it about their deepest, darkest secrets, this is terrifying, right? Like, they're not following any of the current best practices because they're running so fast that they're just trying to just meet something for the next release. Now, this is the bigger concern. The models have already saturated the chat use case. They're not going to get any better at chat, is what he's saying here, right? Altman says they're not going to get much better, and maybe they're going to get worse. Now, if they're going to get worse at their best feature, which is the chat use case, I'm a little terrified at what they're sacrificing for that. But I mean, if it was privacy, then it might be a different discussion, but I don't think it is. I think that ultimately they are recognizing that the bubble is bursting and that problems are coming. And I think that this is really the next big thing that we're going to pivot to here, right? Because Sequoia Capital says Sequoia Capital says AI needs $600 billion in annual revenue just to justify current spending. Think about that for a minute. ChatGPT is saying they're going to hit $10 billion by the end of the year. Now, let's give them the benefit of the doubt and say that they're right. They need to get to a $600 billion annual revenue just to justify current spendings. OpenAI has is on projection to hit $10 billion of revenue this year. But the gap is growing faster And so it grew from 125 billion to 600 billion in just 1 year, right? Of the difference of how much they're making. So even if every tech company generates $10 billion in AI revenue, that's still $500 billion short in order to be able to meet the justified revenue. Infrastructure spending is growing 10x faster than actual revenue generation. Both OpenAI and Grok both admitted that they more than 100x'd the amount of training capacity it took to create their newest models. And yet GPT-5 got worse. They're saying Grok, and Musk says that Grok got 10% better. I'm going to give it a 2 to 5% better. So this is classic bubble dynamics, massive investment with no real path to returns. Now, option traders are buying disaster puts, betting on tech stock collapse. MIT just put out a report that I'm going to cover in one of my next videos, but I'll comment on it here, that says that 95% of corporate AI pilots are failing to deliver any value. Fortune 500 companies finding AI doesn't actually solve real business problems. VCs privately admitting that many AI investments are going to go to zero. Now, here's the part that I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out what his motivation is, because he's been lying to us for so long that now at this point, when he says something that actually could be right, I'm kind of a little terrified at why he would. Sam Altman says the quiet part out loud, believes we are in an AI bubble, a ringing endorsement for the industry. Seems like a counter spot to me. OpenAI Sam Altman just admitted to what the rest of the AI industry won't. The entire thing could be a big, fat bubble ready to burst. So when bubbles happen, this is a quote, when bubbles happen, smart people get overexcited about a kernel of truth, Altman told a small group of reporters on Thursday. Are we in a phase where investors as a whole are overexcited about AI? My opinion is yes. Like, I'm trying to figure out why it is that he's been lying to us for years now, and all of a sudden wants us to see this, because this is the part that like starts to really like terrify me, is because like normally if you know Sam's mouth is moving, that he's lying, but suddenly that he's actually telling the truth, it kind of concerns me, right? Because I'm a little unclear as to why he would be diving into this now, right? Now, this is the Sam Altman from 6 months ago, right? This was in January, okay? We're confident we know how to build AGI. Now he's saying, well, you know, AGI is kind of this term that we don't know if we really want. And he's growing. So he starts warning of this growing AI bubble as the market soars, right? And so that's the same quote that I just read to you. But Altman said in a recent interview, just like the dot-com era, there is a real and valuable technology at the center of AI frenzy. So he even starts to parallel the dot-com bubble burst. Now, I've been predicting this on my channel, and if you've been following me, you know you will. And also, if you've been following me, as always, make sure you leave a comment, because that's my best compliment, and it really helps the algorithm. But I'm trying to figure out what he's trying to do here and why suddenly he's telling the truth. Now, Chinese company DeepSeek claims that they trained their model for a lot less than OpenAI's billions of dollars. Google Gemini is beating ChatGPT in user preference tests, right? Open source models are catching up quickly without the massive burn rate. So I've done on my channel here, you can go back and watch them, but I've built out machines for less than $1,000 that will use some of the open source models that then run and it would compete with ChatGPT, right? And even if it's within a fraction of percent, if I can build my own data, my own server, host it myself, and I show you how to do all of it here, then like, why would I go into giving all of my data, pumping it over to ChatGPT? Now, every major tech company building their own models, right? OpenAI's moat is evaporating quickly. Users have dozens of alternatives that work just as well for free. Now, the first move advantages is turned into the first mover disadvantage at this point. Now, again, if your company has systems that are disconnected, or you want to build real AI into some of your pipelines, not a fancy chatbot, right? But some real AI to connect some of your systems, reach out to us, because I have lots of great software development teams here that can help you out with that. Check out startuphack.com/Spencer. Now, Altman himself admit that AI is a bubble, comparing it to the dot-com. But stock market gains entirely depend on 7 tech companies' AI promises. And that's why I'm starting to get a little concerned. Labor productivity growth is at just 1% despite this quote unquote AI revolution. Google even at best said that AI has helped at most 10% of their productivity. Now, companies with no product raising hundreds of millions of dollars on AI promises alone is what we call a bubble. Valuations reaching insane levels. Altman's own words, he even said insane levels. Like when we hear founders start to admit that, that concerns me. So OpenAI doesn't expect positive cash flow until at best 2029 or 2030. But I think even that is a pipe dream. In current burn rates, they would need $50 billion just to survive that long. So to break even, they need to triple subscription prices or convert 10 times more users to paid. But raising prices is going to drive users away, creating a death spiral. No clear path to profitability doesn't destroy the user base. So classic VC zombies are just those that are too big to succeed, too hyped to fail, until they do fail. Now, I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts. What do you guys think? You guys think I'm being too hard on poor little Sam? What are you guys' thoughts? As always, make sure you like and subscribe, and make sure you comment down below. Here at Startup Hack, we love to train software developers as well as build custom software solutions for companies. And here's some great information about our service.
Hi, I'm Spencer, a fractional CTO. With over a decade of executive leadership and 25 years in software development, I've transformed technology teams and products for businesses just like yours. As your fractional CTO, you get the strategic guidance of a seasoned technology executive without the full-time commitment. Perfect for companies ready to leverage cutting-edge technology without expanding headcount. My team at Startup Hack has already built advanced AI agents for small and medium businesses, automating complex workflows and delivering advanced ROI to human workflows. We specialize in creating custom software that connects your systems into a single coherent technology ecosystem. Our development approach focuses on tangible business outcomes. For one client, we developed AI-powered workflows that cut days off of human processes. For another company, by connecting multiple systems, we reduced processing time to increase their ROI by over 75%. We don't just write code, we architect solutions that scale. Whether you need cloud system architecture, data integration between legacy systems, or custom AI agents that automate your unique business processes, my team delivers results that exceed your expectations. Having led technology for a lot of companies and launched 7 successful brands of my own, I bring battle-tested expertise to your business challenges. Our specialty is turning technological complexity into business advantage. So if you're ready to harness the power of AI and custom software to drive your business forward, let's connect. Together, we'll build technology that doesn't just solve today's problems, it positions you for tomorrow's opportunities. Technology leadership, decades of experience, AI powered. Reach out today and we can help you. Check out startuphack.com/spec